What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and you know, when you cover the news for a living and you cover multiple news stories a day, sometimes these situations we talk about, these names of all these people involved in these situations, sometimes they all start to blur together. And you don't really have time to sit and focus on one story because you're already covering the next. So some stories don't impact you the way other stories will. But you know, throughout my time covering the news, there has been a few stories that really stuck out to me, that really affected me differently than other stories, stories that I attached myself to on a whole nother level. And one of those stories for me has been the Quinton Simon case. An adorable, full of life youngster, little toddler whose life was taken too soon. And it looks like his mother was the one that took his life. But not just that, it looks like she threw him in a trash can afterwards. And for those of you all who were here throughout my coverage of this case, you know it was a complete circus. People protesting outside the house. We got arguments going down every day. Someone thinks they saw a ghost. It was wild. This story was wild. We even had counter protests. Someone dressed as a Ninja Turtle, other person, man, it just got, one person was dressed as like a human breathalyzer test. It was crazy. It was crazy. I gotta say that. But eventually, Leilani Simon, Quinton Simon's mother, was arrested for the death of her son. For the longest, we didn't know where he was. Was he abducted? Did someone else do something? And then they found him, or found his remains, in a landfill. Leilani Simon was arrested for his murder shortly after that. Well, now, about 100 days have passed. I think it's around, 102? 103 days, maybe, I believe at this point, have passed since Leilani Simon's arrest. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You're not going to like this piece of news. But Leilani Simon now has a bond hearing coming up. And not only does Leilani have a bond hearing coming up, I've been looking at the situation. I talked to a few people, and don't hold me to this. I am hoping that they hold her and they make her sit. But from everything I'm seeing, from everything I'm being told, and when it comes to this story, I'm a little closer to this story than a lot of them. I got a lot of sources and a lot of inside information when it comes to this story. And from what I'm being told, it looks like she may get out, y'all. It looks like she may get this bond. Now, will someone show up to pay it? Will Billy Joe Howell show up and pay this bond? I don't know. But it looks like she may be getting a bond. In fact, right now, I would say 75% she gets a bond. The other 25% says no. You know what I mean? Like, it's more likely that she gets a bond than not. That's what we're dealing with here. And I know that if she does bond out of jail, it's going to cause a lot of commotion. This case has already caused tons of commotion. If this woman bonds out of jail, there are probably going to be people right back in front of that house. Who knows? Maybe these people have already moved on with their life. I don't know. But I want you all to watch this clip so you can get a better understanding of what's going on here. Because in my opinion, it does look like they are going to allow her to get a bond. But before we watch this clip, here's a quick word from this video sponsor. This video sponsor is the Swagit app, a fun new app that allows you to share short form videos of whatever you're interested in. I personally like sharing some behind the scenes stuff. I like showing you all of the cool restaurants I go to because I'm a foodie, can't you tell? So I have fun over on Swagit. I want you all to join me over on Swagit as well. It's a cool and fun way to support my channel. And it's totally free. Not only is it totally free though, you get paid from being on the app. If you're interacting on the app, you're going to be earning swag bucks that you can exchange for gift cards or PayPal cash, what have you. Also, I'm doing giveaways constantly. Every month, I'm giving away money and items and prizes right there on Swagit. So be sure to make today. If you've been hesitant this entire time, make today the day that you finally join Swagit. In the pinned comment below, I will have the link. This is my specific link. I would like you all to use that link when downloading the app. But without further ado, let's go ahead and watch this clip. Because one thing I don't like, and one thing the folks over at Swagit don't like, is the fact that Leilani may be getting out of jail. So let's watch this clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
We begin with the latest developments in the case of Quinton Simon.
Lawyers for his mother, Leilani Simon, are working to free her on bond. Leilani is behind bars charged with killing her 2-year-old son last October. She is facing 19 charges in the death of the toddler. Attorneys have asked the judge in the case to set a bond amount.
Our lead investigative reporter Brett Buffington is continuing to break new details in this case. He is joining us now live from the Chatham County Detention Center tonight with a copy of that new court paperwork.
And Leilani Simon, she has been in this jail since November, 101 days. Her bond was originally denied, but that was only because the judge hearing the case at that time was not a Superior Court judge. Last week, lawyers for Leilani Simon asked for a bond again. Leilani Simon was arrested on November 21st. She's been in a cell in the Chatham County Jail for more than 100 days. In just over a week, that could change. Her lawyers filing this petition in Superior Court asking a judge to let Leilani out. When we shared that on Twitter, people who replied were shocked, writing, "Hope it's denied, hard no, and she doesn't deserve it. Let her sit." There were plenty more, but the fact is, state and federal law could give the accused killer a ticket out of her cell.
Well, the big thing about having a client out on bond is you get to go over the discovery, you get to go over the evidence, you have them in your office, you have them available to look at videos. One of the hardest things about being in custody, being in jail, is a lot of times you can't get that media, you can't get the videos, surveillance cameras, any of that stuff. All you have access to is the paper, the police reports.
Devin Rafus is a criminal defense attorney, not involved in Leilani Simon's case. Today, an expert for the investigative unit on why this bond hearing will happen.
One of the factors that you look at is not whether or not your neighbor or whether or not the community would like for you to live with them. There's specific factors that the judge has to look at.
The 19 charges against Leilani Simon claimed the mother beat her son, Quinton, then took his body to a dumpster. After 5 weeks of searching, the toddler's remains were found in this landfill. Tonight, those remains are still at the FBI's crime lab in Virginia. It's important to note, while Leilani Simon was named the #1 suspect during the search for her little boy's body, the police chief here in Chatham County repeatedly said before she was arrested that Leilani Simon wasn't deemed to be a flight risk. But that was before she was arrested, charged, and indicted. We asked the police department here in Chatham County today for a statement about this bond hearing. They told us they didn't have anything to say about it. We are live at the Chatham County Detention Center tonight. I'm Brett Buffington, WSAV News 3, on your side.
You know, it was weird to me throughout this case how law enforcement was saying that Leilani was not a flight risk. But in my opinion, she shows she has all of the qualities a person who is a flight risk would have. She has problems with substance abuse. I mean, this is a woman who is accused of killing her own kid. If you think for 1 second that she wouldn't run away from the police or run from law enforcement or avoid being arrested, then I think you're crazy. But now's a little different. I feel like in the beginning of this case, Leilani, she crafted these various different stories and alibis. And I mean, she was totally disconnected with reality, to the point that she was going out and getting drinks, eating oysters at the oyster bar, getting into arguments with people in her front yard, acting as if she was innocent. You know what I mean? But now that reality has set in, and she has sat behind those bars for 100 and something days, now that she knows that the odds are stacked up against her, I feel like if she got out, there is a big chance that she hightails it. I don't think that things look good for Leilani right now. I think Leilani's going to be found guilty. I think they have evidence. I think that she is on record lying and changing her story so much that it's not going to look good on her. But I think one thing that is, though, worrying me, and it makes me feel some type of way every time I talk about it, and it's that Quinton's remains are still in a lab. Leilani's been in jail for 100 and something days, and Quinton's remains have not been properly buried. He has not had a proper burial, a proper funeral, none of that. His remains are still in a laboratory. They're still conducting tests on these remains, which, I mean, would indicate to me that these, I don't even want to get into that. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that part. That's kind of, I don't want to get into that. But I don't know how confident they are with some of the stuff they found from his remains, because why are they still doing these tests? You would think that enough time has passed, but I understand they just want to get things right. But I don't know, it kind of makes me feel iffy about the case they have against Leilani, knowing that they're still sitting here trying to conduct these tests on his remains to figure out exactly what happened. But all in all, even if they don't figure out exactly what happened to Quinton or how she did what she did, I still feel like they can prove that she's guilty. They got her phone pinged at the dumpster where Quinton was dumped in. All types of stuff. They got all types of evidence and all types of information on Leilani. Stuff that we don't know about yet. Stuff that some of you all may already know about. But, you know, I want to believe they have enough to find Leilani guilty. But that little detail about Quinton's remains still remaining in that lab, it makes me feel kind of iffy. It makes me kind of feel not as confident as I usually would. But with that being said, like I was touching on earlier, this case got really crazy. I mean, people were outside of this house acting an ass. They're implementing new laws in the area just because of what happened with this Quinton Simon case. And if you're unfamiliar with this case, you can go back. I got tons of videos on this case. It got really insane out in front of these people's house. So I'm wondering, if they let Leilani out, will the public and will these other YouTubers who make a living off of raising hell outside of people's homes, will they return? Will this turn into another circus? Another crazy situation with people protesting and acting an ass? Or will they simply ignore that Leilani got out? And if Leilani does get out, will Leilani stay put? Will Leilani stay put? Will Billy Joe Howell, Leilani's mother, even allow her back in the home? And if she's bonding out of jail and she has no home to go to, then that's already a recipe for disaster. And we know she's a user. She gets out, she uses something. Who's to say she doesn't run away? She also has a long history of manipulating men and then blaming men for her crimes. She has a long rap sheet of doing that. She's done it to multiple exes, she's done it to various baby daddies, because she has 3 baby daddies. The latest of which she tried to blame for Quinton's disappearance after she tried to blame her other baby daddy, Quinton's actual father, for Quinton's disappearance. So I don't think it would be hard for her to find some stupid dude that's thirsty to get some, who will then drive her somewhere and involve himself, maybe unknowingly, in a crazy situation with this broad. So, all I gotta say is this. I think it's the best case scenario if Leilani sits. But if they let Leilani out, I hope they know what comes with that. If they let Leilani out of jail, go ahead and buckle your seatbelts and get ready for a wild ride, because I highly doubt that they will let Leilani out of jail and nothing will come of it. Something will come of it. Mark my words. Remember this video. Remember this video in 2 or 3 weeks or a month from now. I'm telling you all, I highly feel like if they let this woman out, something crazy is going to happen. I'm not saying that she's going to hurt anyone, but I feel like she's either going to run away or people are going to show back up in front of that house. Let me know your thoughts about this, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all in the next video.